What's up, everybody? Doing a tribute video for my favorite player ever, Don Mattingly. I'm just going to take you through baseball cards through the years, of course, as well. And I grew up idolizing Mattingly just as probably many people from New Jersey probably did. I was just 7 years old when I saw Mattingly for the first time. I actually looked it up. It was August 8th, 1985. My dad was a huge Cleveland Indians fan and decided to bring me to a game in the Bronx against Cleveland. I remember we sat down for a second game of a doubleheader, and number 23 launched a home run first off of Ramon Ramiro in the first inning, and then a guy named Jerry Reed in the fourth. I immediately became a fan of Mattingly. You know, I was 7 years old. I was pretty impressionable. And first I became, just a fan of how good he was. There was a period of time over a 6 years period from like 84 through 89 where he was one of the best players in the game. And then I became a fan of how good defensively he was. He was so smooth at first base. If you never got a chance to see Mattingly play in the field, you really missed out. And then later in his career, I just became a fan of his work ethic and his desire to persevere despite some of the bad back issues that he had. Looking back, Mattingly's career is sort of the story of a great tragic hero. For 6 years he was dominant, and then for the final 6 years it was just full of frustration and unfulfilled expectations. Every once in a while he would display a glimmer of, the greatness that you saw in the mid to late 80s, but he just couldn't consistently do it anymore. Mattingly, by the way, is the only Yankee to have his number retired yet not win a World Series with the Yankees, which is, if you ever go to Monument Park, with all those numbers that retired, his number is the only number that never won a World Series with the team. So just to take you through his childhood, I actually have a card from when he was 7 years old. You can see here, he played for Reitz Memorial High School. Oh, and another thing, when he was I think he's 10 years old here actually. And the kids, they were like, oh, hit a home run to left. So he hits a home run to left. They said, hit a home run to center, so he hits a home run to center. And then they're like, hit a home run to right, and he hit a home run to right. And that's how good he was, obviously, in Little League. And then, in high school, he ended up leading his high school to 59 straight victories through the 1978 and 1979 seasons. During the 4 years that he played in high school, he batted .463, which is insane. And senior year, he batted over 500. And he still holds the high school record for hits, doubles, triples, runs batted in, and runs scored. And what happened is he accepted a scholarship to play for Indiana State, and because of that, lasted it until the 19th round when the Yankees selected him. For whatever reason, he decided to not to attend college and instead chose to sign with the Yankees for a $23,000 signing bonus. And went on in 1979 to bat .349 for the Yankees Class A affiliate. In 1980, he batted .358. And then 1981, playing for the Nashville Sounds. And here is the card. It's a card that I just recently picked up. It is the 1981 Nashville Sounds Arby's Gem Mint 10 card. It's really, really nice. The card that I just picked up. And you can see here, obviously, it's a PSA 10. That's my new thing, is just picking up PSA 10s. And really, really nice card. This is Don Mattingly's first minor league card. And you can get it for, if you're not picking up a PSA 10, you can get it for really cheap, just like if you get it raw. So it's a really nice card. If you're a Mattingly fan, I definitely recommend picking it up because it's his first minor league card. And this is also the year that the Yankees would, the last time they'd reach the World Series, they'd lose to the Dodgers. The last time they'd reach the World Series until 1996, which of course is unfortunate because Mattingly would come up to the majors and have 12 at-bats in 1982. And then his last year with the team would be in 1995. And then, of course, the year after that, they'd go on to win the World Series. So from there, 1983, was his first rookie season. He played a little bit of first base, a little bit of outfield. He batted 283 and 279 at bats. And I'm sure if you're a Mattingly fan or just a fan from the 80s, I'm sure you remember these cards. This is the 84 Topps Don Mattingly rookie. And there's another version of it. Then you have the 84 Fleer. And then recently, I picked up the this one I've always had, the one on the right, the 8. And then this is the PSA 10 version that I just picked up. And really, really nice looking card. There's the PSA 10. Let me know if you guys can really tell the difference. I guess you could kind of tell the difference between the 10 and the 8, but I just figured, being a huge Mattingly fan, that I needed to pick up the PSA 10. And so in early 84, when Darryl Strawberry was capturing New York's baseball attention from the Mets and Queens, Yankees owner George Steinbrenner made a famous prediction. He said, "You could talk all you want about Strawberry. I'll take Mattingly. He's the best young talent in baseball today. He'll be the batting champion in 3 years." So it's kind of funny because Steinbrenner made that prediction and he was right, but he was wrong about how long it would take, because he would go on that year to win the batting title, batting .343. And if you remember, if you're around in the late 80s, Winfield was .002 ahead of Mattingly, but Winfield on that final day of the season went 1 for 4. Mattingly went 4 for 5 and ended up winning the batting title. So 1985 is the year that Mattingly won the MVP. He batted .324, hit 35 home runs, 48 doubles, 145 RBIs, which was the most RBIs since Ted Williams, and won his first of 9 Gold Gloves. And you can see here, this is the 85 Don Russ, and this is the 85 Topps card. 1986 is... So in 1986, New York Times poll, Mattingly's peers voted him the best player in the game. And Kansas City Hall of Famer George Brett, who knows a thing or two about hitting himself, said of Mattingly, "If he isn't the best player, I'd like to know who is." And Mattingly would go on to lead the league in hits, doubles, and batted .352. And so here's some of his cards from 1980. Let's see, we at 1986. So this is 86 Topps. And you can see here's the All-Star card. And the 86 Don Russ Don Mattingly. So in 1987, this is the year where he just broke all kinds of weird records. He tied the Major League record for hitting home runs in 8 consecutive games. You might remember that Ken Griffey Jr. tied that record. He also set a record for hitting 6 Grand Slams in a season, which is weird because it was the only year that he hit a Grand Slam. And then June 1987, this was important because this is when it was reported, and I don't know if this is true, where he injured his back with some clubhouse horseplay with pitcher Bob Shirley. And despite all that, he still managed to hit .327. And I was just looking at some just random numbers, but between 1985 and 1987, Mattingly hit 96 home runs with just 114 strikeouts. And then if you just to compare against Aaron Judge, who just this year has over 190 strikeouts, he'll probably finish with over 200 strikeouts this year. And let's just go through the 87 cards. So, the famous 87 Topps set. You got the 87 Topps All-Star card. Then you got the, which is a really cool picture of him and Ricky Henderson, Yankees leaders. Then you have the 88 Score, which somehow fell into the 87 stuff. Then you have the 87 Don Russ Mattingly. The 87 Fleer Limited Edition. 87 Don Russ. And 87 Baseball's Best. As you can see, guys, I wasn't much of a Fleer collector growing up. And So from 1988, Mattingly hit 18 home runs and recorded 88 RBIs, but nonetheless was still in the top 10 in the league in batting average at a 311 clip. I have a lot of 88 stuff, and I'll go through it real quick. So we have the 88 Topps Mattingly. You got the 88 Topps Record Breakers, 88 Top All-Star, 88 Donruss Mattingly. God, did I collect a lot of Donruss. 88 Donruss MVP. There's the 88 score. And cool picture of him and Jack Clark, Game Breakers. Jack Clark, who was also a member of the Yankees at one point. There's a Fleer card, 88 Fleer. There's the 88 Fleer MVP. Sorry, got my stupid thumb over it. There you go. There's the 88 Fleer. I don't know what it is, but some sort of limited edition thing. And then, of course, the big set, which I never really liked because it never fit into any of the binders. Then in 89, 113 RBIs and batted .303. So, and I have a ton of 89. You can see when the height of what I used to collect. So 89 Donruss. There's the 89 Donruss Diamond Kings. 89 Score. Then there's the Bowman. Speaking of being too big. Then you got the 89 Upper Deck. And love this set. The 1989 Upper Deck base card. So 1990 is when Mattingly really started to have back problems. He batted .256 with 5 home runs and 400 at-bats. 5 home runs and 400 at-bats. And on top of that, the Yankees were awful. I still remember to this day. They were 67 and 95. They finished 21 games behind the Red Sox. Finished in last place, 7th in the AL East, back when there were 7 teams in the American League East. And just some tough years if you were a Yankee fan when they were in the early 90s. It's hard to believe now because the Yankees have been so good for so long. But they had a really bad stretch, and probably the worst year was in 1990, and that's a really cool picture of him and McGuire. And then, of course, one of my favorite sets, the 1990 Leaf set. So in 91, by the way, is kind of the funny year where he got benched against the Royals for not cutting his hair. He ended up cutting his hair and auctioned it off for $3,000. You might remember him being on The Simpsons over it. Mattingly followed, by the way, I think he was pissed when they benched him for not cutting his hair, and he went on a 7-game hitting streak. And here are just some cards from 91. So you got 91 Topps, 91 Donruss, 91 Upper Deck, 91 Fleer, 91 Score, and then 91 Ultra. Pretty cool card. And, from 91 to 95, Mattingly's average was over 290, but he became more of a slap hitter, hitting just 53 home runs over a 5-year period. However, I will say that he did go on to win 4 Gold Gloves between 91 and 94. Despite the fact that he, became a slap hitter and his back, was definitely an issue, it never stopped him from being a great defensive first baseman. So this is 92 Topps, 92 Upper Deck, 92 Stadium Club, which is always cool because they always have the rookie card, or they used to have the rookie card on the back. Then you got the Fleer, the Select, and the 92 Leaf. Oh, and then I have a couple more. 92 Leaf, and then there's the gold version. And here is 93. You can see that I clearly didn't collect as much in 1993. So you got the Topps, you got the Fleer, and the Score. And might as well just go straight to 94. Got the 94 and the 94 Flair. So 94 is obviously the year where the Yankees had the best record in the American League, but and who knows, this might be just Mattingly's luck, but the year was shortened because of the strike, and the Yankees never got a chance to finish off the season. 95 is when things started to get uncomfortable between the Yankees and Mattingly. At one point in July, he had gone 55 games without hitting a home run. Newspapers were starting to drop hints that the Yankees were pursuing Mo Vaughn, and Mattingly even suggested playing in Japan after the season was over. But thanks to an outstanding finish, the Yankees finished out, and they ended up winning the first wild card spot in AL history. And they finally reached the playoffs, and Mattingly hit a go-ahead home run, which is one of my favorite Yankee moments ever. And he went on to bat .417. But despite that, I still have that image in my mind of Ken Griffey Jr. running around third base and scoring in Game 5, which was a heartbreaker. When the series was over, no one was sure, what Mattingly was going to do in 1995. And then during the offseason, of course, in 96, Tino Martinez signs with the Yankees, and Mattingly sort of took the year off. He didn't know what he was going to do, and the kind of the sad thing is the Yankees would win the World Series, of course, in 96, and supposedly Don watched the final game on TV with the boys, but turned off the final out before the celebration started. And I even remember, thinking back to 96, Mattingly, just one of the first thoughts that went through my head as I was, getting so excited that the Yankees won the World Series finally was it was kind of sad that Mattingly wasn't there, especially as, being a huge fan of Donnie Baseball. So here's some other cards for Mattingly. And here you go. There's the Gypsy Queen. Some of these cards obviously were done after his career was over. And then, of course, this is Don Mattingly with the Dodgers. And there you go. Some sort of SP legendary thing. And, just to finish off, Mattingly went on to be a hitting coach. The Yankees hit 242 home runs in 2004. And, of course, was a bench coach for Joe Torre, and they made Joe Torre some ridiculous offer, and he didn't accept the one-year extension. Mattingly interviewed against Joe Girardi for the manager position, of course, lost out to Joe Girardi, and then 2 years later, Joe Girardi and the Yankees ended up winning the World Series again. And from 2011 to 2015, he was a manager of the Dodgers, where he went 446 and 363, which, by the way, is the second best winning percentage in Dodgers history. So I think a lot of people look back at Mattingly's managerial career as a Dodger as somewhat of a failure, but he had the second best winning percentage in Dodgers history. And then finally, Mattingly, of course, is a manager with the Dodgers from 2016 to present. And so that's it, guys. I hopefully that you all enjoyed this video. It was fun putting all this together, and being a huge Don Mattingly fan, I thought it would be really cool to put this together. And I just want to leave you guys with this, is a quote from George Steinbrenner, and he said this of Mattingly after he retired. He was a great athlete and a great player. Some great athletes are not great human beings, and vice versa. This man combined all of that, and I couldn't agree more. Mattingly was such a great person for me to look up to as a young kid. His work ethic was something that I tried to emulate, and he was just a lot of fun to watch and always said the right things. So again, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and feel free to leave comments, questions, whatever you want. So thanks a lot, and I'll talk to you later. Peace!